Hi everyone, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Yogesh. So we have 13 people that have joined in. Let us wait for a few more minutes and then we will continue. Right. In the meantime, if you want to ask me anything, talk to me, please let me know.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir,
Good
actually, I have
afternoon.
a doubt.
Yes.
Sir, in Excel, the formulas like the match one and the index one, but like how are they different from the VLOOKUP?
See, okay. VLOOKUP is the most common function which is used by almost everybody who works on Excel. But there are certain limitations that VLOOKUP has. For example, when you're working with a large data, when you have many different columns with you, when there are certain errors in your data, VLOOKUP might not be able to handle that. VLOOKUP is a very simple function, which is what we did last week, but it cannot handle very complex problems. That is why we use things like index, match, XLOOKUP, offset, indirect, right? So they are not a replacement for VLOOKUP, but so if you have a simple problem, then I don't need to use index match. But if the problem statement is a little more complex, then you might want to use an index match. It is like saying that there is a problem on Excel, and I'm telling you that you can write a simple formula, you can write a complex formula, or you can do it using programming. And all the three will get you the same result, 100%. Now, why would you want to make the solution more complex? If a simple formula is able to give you the result, why would you want to make it more complex, right? That is the same thing with index match as well. For simple tasks, I would say about 80 to 90% of the time, VLOOKUP is all that you require. You don't need anything more. But then there are 10, 15, 20% of the time where you feel that the problem is a little too complex for VLOOKUP to handle, and you might want to use something more elaborate and much more powerful.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Right? Anyone else? Any other question?
Hello.
Hi, tell me.
Hi. So I want to ask that what is the difference between using a slicer and a filter in Excel?
No difference. It's exactly 100% the same thing. When you use a filter, you have to click on that drop down and select it manually, correct? But when you use
Yes.
a slicer, it is a visual window where you can click on that. That's it. Both of them interact with each other. They're exactly the same thing. There is no difference.
Okay.
Great. What other questions do you have? Let me also see the queries sheet in case somebody has asked something there. Okay, so there are no new questions that have come in. All right. Great. So 18 of you have come. Let's just wait for maybe 2 more minutes and then we will start. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please ask. I also want to share with all of you, and I know I don't want to talk about Excel too much. I was the one who said yesterday that this week we want to focus on Power BI. But since we're discussing a few questions and answers, I thought I'd share something with you. A lot of you were asking me, right? That so we are learning it, but then how do we practice and how do we remember? How do I know which function to use? And I have been telling you the same answer every time that you don't know. And that's the beauty of data analytics. that nobody is going to tell you that for this problem, this task, this is the correct function. You have to apply your thinking. You have to take a call that do I use this or do I use a different one? And many times you don't have one answer, you have multiple answers. So there are different ways of achieving the same result, right? Something that I like to do personally, like I have courses on pivot and VLOOKUP and data cleaning, correct? What I like to do is I go to a website called Excel Jet. I'm sure I must have showed it to you earlier as well. If not, please make a note of this. And let's say one function. Somebody said VLOOKUP, somebody said index, right? I'm taking a very simple function. I'm taking the left function. All of us did that, remember, in the data cleaning example, where I showed you how to separate the first name, last name, and all. Now, what is on this website is that they have not just explained the left function with an example, but what they have done is they have given you different types of use cases. For example, what is the left function? How to align left, how to select only one character, how to take one word, how to select one word, how to move on. And as you can see, left lookup with VLOOKUP. So how to use the left VLOOKUP. And if I keep on continuing, you notice that. Do you see this? How to extract text with left and right? So let me click on this. And when you, like, this is a very simple example. Just by looking at it, you know what we're doing. There is a telephone number with 10 characters in it, 720-246-6554. What do we want? We want the left 3 characters, 720. Now you might say, but Havish, so this is very simple. What is the special thing? But if you notice, when I scroll down, they have given you even more examples. So they have explained how to use left and how to use right, right? And every time you click on something, you can see even more examples. Do you see this? They've not just explained one example, they've explained many different examples. Look at all this. Convert date, split text string, capitalize first letter, how to remove the first character. Let me open this one. Like sometimes what will happen is you will have a data, but you want to remove the first character. Like from this Z apple, here 2 characters, 3 character, 4 and 5. So what we're doing here is we're using a replace function. I hope all of you understand what I'm trying to show you. Rather than learning 7 different topics at the same time, what I personally like to do is that I pick up one topic, let's say VLOOKUP, and I will go very in depth into it. That means that I will explore as many possible combinations as I can. I will go to different websites. I will try simple examples, intermediate, advanced examples, right? So that one by one, I'm able to cover all these topics. But before you start going in depth, it is very important for you all to have an overview. So the purpose of doing that course on for which I've given you access on Teachable is that it gives you an overview of different areas in Excel. Now that you all of you know what is VLOOKUP, what is if, what is flash fill, what is text function, what is pivot table, what is charts, correct? Now you can start picking one topic at a time. Let's say VLOOKUP, and for the next 3 days, you should tell yourself that I'm going to spend 6 to 9 hours just doing VLOOKUP. That I will try to find as many examples on VLOOKUP as possible or on SumIf as possible, right? And that way, what happens is in 1 week, you feel you've only done 2 topics, but then over a period of time, you start to feel comfortable. Otherwise, what will happen is your level of knowledge will be very shallow. You will know a little bit about every topic, but that is not enough. You know, as an MBA student, you need to have an in-depth knowledge. And see, you can't learn everything in the same day. It is not possible. So that's why I suggest maybe for a few days or for 1 week, just focus on VLOOKUP. And then after some time, after this 1 month session is over, after that, you can take 1 week on one topic, the second week on another topic. And then in a few months, you will start to see that you have gained a lot of knowledge, right? I hope that makes sense. That is what I follow. Maybe for you, a different method works, but for me, this approach has worked very well for me. Right? Great. I'll open my Power BI file. So 19 of you have come, and we can also resume with Power BI. Right? So let's come to SRCC, final batch, and let's come to files week 2, batch 1, and we come to SRCC. Right? Everyone, please open the file. I will first give a quick recap of what we did yesterday. If you have any questions, you can ask me. And like I told you, we will continue with more examples. Right? What is Power BI? It is a business intelligence tool. Is it the only BI tool in the market? No, there are many competitors. Google Data Studio, Microsoft Azure, not actually Microsoft Azure, let me take that back. IBM Cognos, Tableau, Click, ThoughtSpot. So there are about 25, 30 big companies in the market, SAP, SAS, all of them are doing the same thing, right? BI stands for business intelligence. And what is the difference between business intelligence and data analytics? See, data analytics is just analyzing that you got a data set, you put some calculations and formulas, and you are saying that this is the result. But then what is the interpretation? How do I look at the data and come up with meaningful insights? To do that, we need business intelligence. That's why the word intelligence is there, right? So we're not just looking at data for the sake of data. We also want to understand, what does this data mean? Does it tell me something interesting about my business, right? So when I say what is my sales for each state in India as a map, there is no intelligence here, right? It is just an analysis or an analytics. That means that it's only analyzing my data. But we will come to intelligence in some time. So there were 3 AI visualizations that I covered for all of you. Number 1, we did Q&A. Number 2, we did analyze data. And number 3, we did the summarize function, which allows us to create a simple summary like this, right? And after that, we saw how we can connect 2 charts with each other. So the chart on the left, we have order date and the sales value. You can see it here, no? Sales by year and sales by subcategory. And in the map, what do we have? We have the state and we have the sales. And I applied a filter. So you notice that. Oh, I'm sorry. We did not apply filter. We applied a slicer, right? So in the slicer, we have selected the country that we wanted. So you can see that we have India here, and we are able to see India, right? Any country that you select, it will automatically show the data for that country. Okay. I would like all of you to go through this. If at all there was any topic that got left out or you would like me to repeat, let me know. Because today I want to continue with new topics on Power BI. Right? So just take a few minutes and let me know if there's anything you would like me to repeat.
Sir, in the map section, is it
Yeah.
possible to get the India map alone by ignoring the rest of the world?
But that is what we have done, no? When we put the slicer, we are selecting India here. So
Data is showing only for India, but the rest of the countries is also showing, right?
Okay, that's a very good question. That you just want to show on the map the India boundary, you don't want to show the rest. It is not possible. Yeah, that is not possible. Right? There are some more powerful maps available. So if I may just quickly give you an example, there is a company called Mapbox. Mapbox is available for different platforms. So it is available for Tableau, Click, Power BI, and it has a free version also. It has a paid version also. This is where you can just focus on the country that you want. I think, let me just quickly check. So Power BI, show map, only one country. There is some way of doing it, but I'll also have to check how we do that. Just a minute. Let's see.
I think we can zoom that map in that area so that we can.
No,
only
but
see.
zooming will still show me the others. No, let me see. Under the preview features, there's a custom shape map, but I'm not sure if we have India there or not. Just give me a moment. Let's do one thing, okay? It's a very good question, everyone. So let me select United States, okay? So I'm selecting the US. Okay, right? So we have the US, but obviously the same problem, which is that we can see, the areas around it as well. Now, rather than selecting the basic map that we have right now, I want to select something different, which is this one, which is a filled map. I hope all of you can see this on the right side. What this will do is it will show me still the entire map. Just let me check once. What about this one, everybody, shape map, right? But I am not sure if this is available for other countries or not. I'll have to check. So if I select India, for example, yeah. So right now what is happening is that the shape map is exactly what you wanted, right? So if I'm selecting the United States, you can see that it is giving me a shape map for the US, and this is beautiful, right? It's focused on that one map that you want to show. But in the shape map, if you want to select other countries, so on the shape map, if I select the shape, see, right now the map is only available for these countries, Australia, Austria, Brazil, and so on and so forth. But if you want to add your own, let's say we want to add for India, I can add map and I can add a JSON file, which is a JavaScript object notation. It's a JavaScript file. So usually, how do you get that file? Somebody in the corporate, somebody in your organization, the design team will create that file for you, and you can load the India map and then you can show it like this, right? I hope that makes sense. Let me just show it for Germany as well. As you can see, they're adding more countries, but as of now, they only have some, 14, 15 countries available, right? But this looks absolutely fantastic, right? Like this. Great. Any other question, anyone? Right. So while you're thinking, let me just see if we can get the map keys. Just give me a moment. So we have map keys here. Let's see. So let me select India Power BI map keys. Let's see if somebody has already prepared it. Indian stage shape map. Okay, let's try. See, somebody has already created it, right? You need a shapefile for it. Now, do you see why I was telling all of you that being able to search for the right question on Google is very important? Like, I have never done it earlier, but I knew that it is possible because I have that little bit of knowledge, right? And it did not take me a lot of time to search for the correct answer, right? So as you can see, this is looking great, but then also this is still showing you all the others. I'm not really sure if this will help me or not. That's not what we wanted. Yeah, let's see. Just a minute. Creating shape map visual, and okay, you can use an online tool such as Map Shaper. So there's a specific website for this, and on Map Shaper you should be able to create your own maps as well, right? So shapefile, GeoJSON, DBF, and CSV files supported. File can be loose or zip bucket. Okay, yeah, but I haven't worked on it, so I'll not be able to tell you the complete solution. But yeah, but usually these sort of things are not done by you as an MBA student. Usually the IT team or the design team will help you with it. You will just tell them that I need a shape map for India as a JSON file, and they'll be able to do this. Right? Good. Any other question, anyone?
But in the normal map, we have to keep the country in the location.
Absolutely. Whether you have the country or the state or the city, everything will come in the location. So in the normal map, you
But
notice that.
actually, when I'm doing that, so I'm not able to see the map in my screen.
See, why not I do that once again? So if I put the country above the state, what will happen? Do you see the small? Let me select India, so all of you can see this. Right? Do you see this? There's a small blue dot here, which is the country that we have, and below the country we have kept the state as well, right? But if you remove the country, it will only show you the state.
So
So you
actually,
tell
it's
me.
just coming a white screen in the map column.
I don't know. Can you share your screen? Let's see.
Yeah, sure, sir. So like this is coming like this.
Yeah, just delete it and make a new one.
I was having the same issue.
Yeah, so there's a bug
Close
with
the
Power
file.
BI. There's a bug with Power BI. Sometimes the map does not render properly. So whenever that happens, just don't put the country, because we have already selected the country, right? Brazil, just put the state. Remove the country and just put the state, right? And put the sales in values, in size. Put the sales value in size. Right? If it is still not coming, just save the file, close it, reopen it, and it should come.
Sure, sir. I can try that.
Right? Just save the file, close it, and reopen it. So this is a known problem with Power BI. Sometimes the map doesn't render properly. Whenever that happens, I mean, there's no other way of doing it. You just have to close and reopen the file. I hope it is working for the others, though. I hope all of you were able to make the map. Okay. Any other questions, anyone? Because we want to start with something new. I'll just wait for 1 minute, then we'll continue. Just confirm, Garima, right? If you're able to make the map.
Yes, sir. I'm actually opening it.
Sure. So I'll wait for you. Just confirm and then we'll continue.
So till then, can you please help me to let me know like how can we get that figure 589.49K
Sure.
on that chart?
This is a card, this one. The visual that has 1, 2, 3 written in it, right?
Okay.
So I've just selected the card and I put the sales value in it. That's all.
Okay, got it.
Yes, sir. Now it is coming.
Is it working? Perfect. Excellent. So let's continue, everybody. I will make a new page. So this is 2 maps. Somebody had asked me this question, but now I want to show you what is drill. Okay. Let me explain that. First, just watch, and then I'll give you time to practice this. All right. I will make a column chart, exactly what we did earlier, with the order date in the axis and the sales value in my values, right? Like this, nothing special. Right now, like I said, there is nothing special. It's just a normal chart with order date in the axis and sales in the value. Now I can see the data for all my years, 12, 13, 14, 15. But what if I want to see the data for my quarters as well? So I can click on this expand button, right? The arrow that expands into 2 arrows. So what will happen? It will now show me the quarters as well. If I click one more time, it will show me the months as well, right? Now, how do I go back to the quarter and back to the month, back to the year? I can click on the up arrow. So we have understood this, right? Up arrow and expand button. But then there are 2 other arrows as well. Let's quickly do that and then you can practice. Now, one arrow I have is the drill down, which is the single down arrow. What that means is that if I click on any one year, let's say 15, what happens? Nothing happens. When I click on it, it just selects it, it just highlights it. But what if I want to see the data for Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 for only 2015? So I can click on this button, drill down, and what will happen when I turn it on? And now when I click on 2015, look what happens. It will drill down. That means it is taking me one level inside 2015 and it's showing me this is 2015 Q4, 2015 Q3, Q2 and Q1. Same thing. If I click on 2015 Q4 one more time, what will happen? Anybody? What will I see if I click on 2015 quarter 4?
The month-wise data of quarter.
What month? Which months?
Last 3 months, December, November.
October, November, December. Makes sense? And if I click on December one more time, what will happen? Date-wise. Now, do you see how powerful this tool is? Like, you can't do these things on Excel because if you're doing analysis on a day-wise level, can you tell me what type of business is very interested to see the day-wise transactions? What type of sector? What industry is interested in seeing the day-wise movement?
E-commerce.
E-commerce. Because in automotive, is it important to see the day-wise sales? Yes or no?
Yes.
Not really. See, not really, because it is not that people will be purchasing more cars on Monday and less on Tuesday, right? In automotive, usually what happens, you have peaks. When do auto sales rise? In 1 year, typically when does automotive sales increase?
Q4,
I'm sorry?
Q4 mostly.
Fourth quarter. And why during fourth quarter?
We would say it's a festival season or a New Year, Christmas time.
One is that festivity. The other is that typically in the next year, new models are coming in. So you get a lot of discounts because companies are trying to what we call liquidate their old stock. That is why you get a lot of discounts. So people who are not really eager to buy the absolute new model. See, most middle class families don't want to buy the newest model that is there in the market. So you might get a 40, 50, 10%, whatever discount on a slightly older model. So usually that Dhanteras time, Diwali, New Year, that is when a lot of peaks happen. Other times peaks happen. Can you tell me when does two-wheeler sales really increase? It's a very interesting question. When does two-wheeler sales for Hero and Honda and all increase? One of the biggest reasons for two-wheeler sales to increase.
Weather.
Yes. Think of socio-economic factors. Not just the weather, think of socio-economic factors. Which type of group of people will suddenly purchase a lot of two-wheelers if something happens?
College students, well, college reopening.
That's a very good point. That college students also, like I was a college student, I bought a bike, I remember. But there's a bigger example, which is the rural market. See, in a rural market, what happens is when there is a bumper crop, suddenly these farmers have a lot of money, right? And they invest in two-wheelers. But if the crop is not good, if that year is not good, then the two-wheeler sales drop. In fact, if you sort of do the background, you will see that rural sales for, let's say, Hero is, by the way, Hero Motocorp has been a client of mine. So do you see this rural demand drives Hero Motocorp sales of 4.5 lakh units. Last year, where was the growth coming in? From rural and semi-urban markets. Again, you can read about this. I'm just giving you a little bit of idea because see, Excel was very objective, formula, pivot table, charts. But when we're doing business intelligence, I'm not just going to teach you how to make a chart. We all have learned how to do that. We are learning how to do that. You also should be understanding why is this important? Why would I want to look at data at a day level or at a month level? For example, if I'm looking at the data at a month level, for example, if I click on this double arrow, which is the next level, what will happen? It is showing me all the 12 months. Can somebody tell me what does this December mean? For which year is it showing me the value? 15,66,000. Let me do it one more time. This is my year. I click on the double arrow once and twice. This December is for which year? The first year or the last year?
It's for all the 4 years.
Exactly. It is for all the 4 years combined. So what will be your interpretation of this number? If I look at the last 4 years of business, what will you say? Which is
We
the
have
best
more
month?
sales in Q3 or November and
Exactly.
December.
So if you look at this period, June, right? June is a month where sales typically peak. So Q1, Q2 is fairly small, but June it peaks. Right after the sales peak, it falls in July, but Q3 to Q4 is typically fairly high, and November, December are the two best months for the business. And I'm not talking about only the last year. I'm talking about all the last 4 years, right? So Power BI is making you capable of doing this type of analysis. Power BI is telling you don't have to write formulas and make complex charts. You just have all the buttons available here. However you want to analyze the data, you can do that. But why are we analyzing it? For the intelligence. That is why I'm giving you some context as to why it is important. I'll give you another example before you ask your questions. So I think I told you, right? I was working with a firm called Reckitt Benckiser after I did my MBA. So this was a campus placement. I worked there for 2.7 years. And Reckitt is a FMCG company with different brands in the home and the healthcare segment. Now, I was handling modern trade. Modern trade would be Big Bazaar, Reliance, more. So I was handling the product sales in all these outlets, the marketing in all these outlets. And my last stint was in Chennai, right? Now, what would happen is that from the point of view of understanding the day-wise movement, it is very important for us because let's say I'm selling Harpic. Now, Harpic has about 70% market share, right? In modern trade, it is even higher, or whatever, let's say 70%. Now, I would like to know on which day are the sales higher? Is it on Saturday? Is it on Sunday? Or is it on Monday? Or is it on Tuesday? Can somebody tell me why is it important as to which day it is higher? As long as I'm selling and I'm meeting my targets and the sales is growing every month, why do I need to know which day is higher and which day is lower? Anyone?
Ensure availability.
Exactly. Very good point. To ensure availability. What is the last thing that a business wants? What is the worst thing that can happen to a business?
Lack of stock.
Exactly. What we call a stock out. A stock out means that the customer wants to buy the product, but the product is not available. One thing that is a little less worse, but it is equally worse in a way, is that when the stock is not available in the store. But what is the worst thing is that when a customer comes, haven't you ever been to a grocery store and you say, I want to buy, let's say, this product. You want to say, I want to buy Dettol soap. And they say, any Dettol soap is not there. Why don't you buy something else? Imagine how bad the company must be feeling. There's a customer who has come, is asking for your brand, but the retailer, the shopkeeper says, it is not available. I don't have the stock or I don't have that size. And they end up selling you something else. Because see, these are very low touch, very low impulse purchases. So you're not going to say, no, I will not buy a soap. I'll wait for 1 week till you get the stock. It's very unlikely. Now, if you're buying oil, like a lot of households, they only buy one type of cooking oil. So they might say, okay, if it is not available, I can wait for 2 days or 3 days, right? But for a lot of small things, let's say you're buying a toothbrush. If you don't find what you want, you're not going to wait for another 3 days. So you might say, fine, give me something else, right? But if you look at cosmetics people are very particular. So if you are used to one type of shampoo, or if you're used to one type of anything else, any type of toiletry, even if the stock is not there, you will wait. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is how we all work. And this is what we were taught at these organizations. Inventory management, right? So we don't call it stock, we call it inventory management, right? Inventory management is super important. You want to make sure that when the customer is on the shelf, the product should be there. It should be displayed properly. It should be available in the right quantity. The right combination will be available. And the worst thing we want is that it should not be there. Can somebody tell me some other reason? One reason is inventory management. Second reason is, from the point of view of a stock out, what else? Why is it important for me to know which day it is selling and which day it is not selling? Think. It's important to, even if you come up with the wrong answer, that's okay. There's nothing right or wrong. Let's say if you're able to hit it on the right note.
Maybe we can give offers like buy two, get one, like that.
Excellent. You can give offers. Now tell me, usually when do you want to give an offer? When people are already purchasing or when people are reducing the purchase? Makes sense. For example, usually what happens is you see that 1 + 1, no? Like if you go to the market, the shopkeeper will say, you buy one Harpic and you will get another Harpic free. Why do they do that? For two reasons. Number one, you were using Domex and you're a happy customer, you have no complaints. You go to the store, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure for all of you, this would have happened at some point or the other. You go to the store, the shopkeeper says, why don't you buy Harpic this month? Because it is 1 + 1. And you say, what difference does it make? It's a toilet cleaner. Let me buy this. Another purpose of giving you 1 + 1 is that if they give you 1 + 1, that means that if, let's say, one bottle lasts 1 month, now they are making you use it for 2 months. And if you end up using it for 2 months, what will happen?
You will get a connect with the product.
You will get a connect, what we call loyalty. So you will have a brand loyalty. After using it for 2 months, you will get used to it. So the possibility, the likelihood is that the third month, you will actually go and not ask for Domex, you will ask for Harpic. So there are many reasons as to why a company does a 1+1. I don't want to make this a marketing lecture, but I just want to talk about one more example. When we used to discuss our marketing initiatives the next month, there used to be a decision. We used to say, should I offer a 30% discount or should I offer buy one, get one? It is costing the same to the company. If I offer a 30% discount, it is costing me some money. If I'm giving a 1+1, it is costing me the same amount of money. Can you tell me which one is better? Offering a 30% discount or offering buy one, get one?
Buy one, get one.
Right? Now, of course, it depends on many other factors, but let's say that the buy one, get one is better because you're forcing the customer to use your product for a longer period of time. So that way, what happens is that they would become loyal. The likelihood is there. The advantage of a 30% discount is that if your product is at a higher premium, is a little costlier than the other product, you tell the customer this month you buy it for a cheaper price. And hopefully the customer will like it. And next month, even if you increase the price, they will still continue to buy it. See, does it not happen many times that we go and we are not sure, should I buy it because it's a little more expensive? But then we buy it, we like it, and we feel, no, now I want to buy this only. I'm not talking about what is the correct answer or the incorrect answer. I'm just telling you that there is so much thinking that has to go into decisions like this. People think it's only about money. How much money can you spend on marketing? No, it's not like that. There's a lot of thinking as to what is the correct thing to do, right? Sometimes you do bundling where you say that with one product, you will get another product free. Like I'll buy a toothpaste, I'll buy Colgate, and I will get a brush free. Why are they doing that? Again, it's just some food for thought. So whenever I come from a sales marketing background, so I always tell people that coming from an FMCG background, the next time you go to a big bazaar, wherever it is, or you go to any store, just observe, look at how the products are placed. Look at how one product is kept to another product, how competitors are there. Do you see those floor units, those what you call alligators and shelves that are kept where you have promotional discounts or special offers? So think about it. Why are they offering a discount? How much of a discount are they offering, right? Simply being in a big bazaar. I taught at a few colleges before I stepped into analytics. And I used to give this assignment to my students. This was a live project, okay? Every student had to go to Big Bazaar. They had to spend 4 or 5 hours there doing nothing. There are no surveys. There are no questionnaires. You don't have to do anything. You just have to observe. Look at how people shop. Sometimes people will pick up a product, they will put it in their cart, and then they will not buy it, or they'll put it back. How much time are they spending? How much time are they spending when they're buying toilet paper? And how much time are they spending when they're buying a shampoo? See, it's very easy to say that, no, I'm sure that in shampoo, they're spending more time, in toilet paper, they're spending less time. But trust me, you might be very surprised to see this reaction time and, this purchase time that is spent in the store, right? Looking at how people zigzag through the store. Like some people will go in an order, like going left to right, left to right. Some people might buy one product, then come back and buy another. So it's very interesting to just observe people. Right? That's what we did when our training happened. And it's very difficult to explain to you why this is a nice thing. But, if you do it, you will see how interesting this is, right? Great. So I'm not going to talk about marketing anymore, but I just wanted to give you a context that now whenever we are doing analysis, don't just think that Havish is telling us, oh, click on this button, this is the number, this is the calculation. Businesses need this analysis and intelligence. We are using this not just to present as a college project. We are using this to make decisions. When my manager says, should I spend 1 crore next month on advertising? I will have to use Power BI to take that decision. Should I spend it? Should I not spend it? Right? So very important decisions are taken basis these type of dashboards that you're creating. Right? Okay, good. Any questions, anyone? Just take a minute, think about it, and then we'll continue. right? Okay. I would request all of you to take a few minutes because this is a very important topic and just get comfortable with these 4 arrows. Take your time. If you are having any issue, any trouble understanding what is happening, let me know and I'll answer that. Don't try all these other buttons. I will explain them later. Just try these 4. Okay, I'm highlighting it for you. These 4. Try them out and let me know if you have any questions. It's a very important topic.
How to go back once you have drilled to the lowest part of the data?
Right. So let me also do it with you. So let's say that we are on the year and I go to the quarter and the month. If I want to go back up, I can just click on the up arrow.
Okay, got it.
Sir, how do we get the DRS? Do we need to click on somewhere?
How do you get the what? The arrows? Just
Yeah,
click on the chart. The arrows will come automatically. Maybe they will come at the top or maybe they'll come below.
No, I get only the other 2 logos.
No,
I
no.
didn't get
Just make
this.
sure that you're on the year. You have to be at the top. Only then the 4 arrows will appear. You have to be at the first level of the year.
Okay, let me.
Is it coming now? You can even share your screen. I'll stop my sharing in case anybody has a problem or if you would like to ask anything, just share your screen with me. Yes, Naveen. So, no. Naveen, hold on. Do you see on the right side, in the axis, you have the order date, but you only have the year in it. Look on the right side, below the charts. Do you see you only have the year in it? Please remove the order date and put the order date one more time. Drag the order date one more time. Correct. Now the arrows will come, right? Because you only had the year with you, there was nothing to go further into.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right? Okay, great. Anyone else? Any questions? Anybody else? And do not ever worry that what if I click on this button, something might go wrong. That is not the correct way of learning. When you're learning Power BI, try to do every combination possible, right? What is the worst thing that will happen? that can happen is that you will click on something, it will not work properly. That's okay. You can always undo it, but never unless you experiment, okay? And unless you try to do all different combinations, it will not really work. I mean, you will not learn everything. Right? Can I share my screen again? Right? So I hope all of you are getting comfortable. Obviously, when you work with more examples, you will understand it even better. But if you ask me in one line that how would you describe the arrows, I would say that there are 4 levels to the order date. We have the year, quarter, month, and date. And the arrows are allowing me to go up and down in those 4 levels of hierarchy, right? So the 4 levels of hierarchy that you can see here, it is allowing me to move up and down. And it allows me to see the data in different perspectives, right? Maybe I want to see the month for only 1 year. Maybe I want to see the months for all the years combined. Maybe I want to see my data aggregated at the year level, or maybe I want to see my data in a granular manner, which means at a date level or at a month level, right? Like that. Right? Okay. Now, like I promised to all of you, we have seen the arrows, and let's also do some formatting now. Some of you were asking me questions. How can I change the color? Can we do it? Let's do that, everyone. Please click on the formatting button. This one. Everybody, please click on the formatting button. And let me increase the size so all of you can see this clearly. The formatting button. Now see, there are many, many options. It is impossible for me to cover every single one because there are so many of them. If you could click on the x-axis, do you see how many options are there? So it would not be possible for me to cover everyone. In my course, I have explained this in much more detail. So the Power BI course that I have, there are 11 hours of lectures. You can see this in much more detail. But even in the course, I can't cover everything because it's not possible, right? But I'll tell you the more important ones. In the data colors, you can see that I can change the color as well. So I'm just going to change this to a orange as an example. Right? In fact, let me break it into my quarter level like this. So let's have this peach or an orange, whatever you want. Now, if you want to present the data where you want to highlight 2 numbers, maybe this Q4 and this Q4, right? How do you highlight them individually? I can click on show all, and then I can say that one by one, I can select the colors. So I'll say that Q4 2015 should be blue. Then I can say that Q4 of 2014 should be blue. And then you see what I'm doing, right? It is a little bit of manual work, but then, I mean, of course, you will have to do this manually, but this is nice because you can show the best quarters as well, right? Like this. And you can also add the data label. So you can see the numbers as well. Please do this with me one by one, everyone. So there are 2 things that I've done. I have changed the data color. So I've added a color here. And we have also added a data label, right? So you can see the number like this. Right? Before I continue, let me know if any problem with these 2.
Sir, can we do conditional formatting here as we do in Excel? If it is more than this number, it should show in green.
Okay.
Like that.
We can do conditional formatting here, but we can't do conditional formatting in Excel. Okay. In Excel, conditional formatting can only be done on cells. You cannot conditionally format the chart. Does it make sense? I
Yeah,
can
yes,
only
sir.
conditionally format cells, but I can't conditionally format chart. In the chart, if I want to change the color, where I say that greater than, let's say 1 million is one color, less than 1 million is a different, I'll have to do that manually. Here it is possible. You have this small, I'll be covering it. The very next example, I'll cover conditional formatting. You have to click on this FX button. We'll do it. But for now, I just wanted to apply simple colors. In the very next example, I'll cover the conditional formatting as well. Right?
Okay,
So I'm also adding a border and a shadow. In fact, what I'm thinking is, let me write down these things so that you can all go back and look at it. Okay? You don't need to write it. I'm writing it for you, for your sake. So the things that we have changed are, we have changed the data color. I have added a data label. Then I have added border, and I have added a shadow. Right? These are the 4 formatting options that we have done. Right? Now, let me show you something very interesting. There is an option called the zoom slider. Can all of you select this, please? The zoom slider. Now, this is amazing because the zoom slider means that, let's say I'm looking at my data. So the zoom slider here is only for the y-axis. That's okay. But if I only want to see numbers that are greater than 1 million or between 2 numbers, I can just move it like this. Okay? Such an excellent way of, like, what am I doing right now? I'm saying that only show me values that are greater than 1 million, which is only 3 of them. If I say how many are greater than, let's say 715, I can see like this, greater than 750. So I'm adding zoom slider. And the final thing that we are doing is we are adding a slicer with my order date. This will complete this example before we continue. So I will add a slicer. I hope all of you remember the slicer. And in the slicer, we will add a order date like this. And I'm sure all of you can guess what I'm trying to do here. This means that if I want to see the data for only, let's say, the last 6 months or the last 18 months, I can move this. Do you see how nice this is? They're interacting automatically. So I can even go down to my month level like this. Very cool, right? Please try this, everyone. Take your time and let me know if you have any question. Any questions, anybody? You can even select a specific date. So if you want to see the data from a start date to an end date, you can do it like this. And do you see the level of flexibility that we have? I can use the arrows as well if I want to see the data at a month level like this. Right? And imagine you were doing this on Excel. It's so difficult, right? And it will never look as beautiful as this, right? That level of flexibility will not be there. Okay. In the next page, I'm going to show you how to apply conditional formatting. But before we do that, let me know if you have any questions. Just give you a few minutes.
Sir, could me show me once again how to add that date filter?
This one, the
Yeah.
slicer. Yeah, so I have selected the slicer here and I put the order date in it. That's all.
Okay, sir.
Great. Anybody else? And remember, this is not the only type of chart that you have. So if you want to change it to a bar chart, we'll get the same thing, right? Like this. Like this also looks really nice. Can somebody tell me why is the bar chart better than the column chart? There's one reason why. Anyone? Between this one, right? Between the bar chart and the column chart. Can you tell me the reason the bar chart is always preferred? Anybody? Okay, let me ask you this way. Reading the month is easier in which one? Is it easier in the column chart here or is it easier in the bar chart?
The bar chart.
Okay. If in the column chart, you want to look at the comparison of the value. I know that all of you can see 145K, 303K. But don't you feel that in a bar chart, it is even easier because left to right is typically how we read, isn't it? So it's much easier to see the data like this, right? There's nothing wrong with either of them, but always ask yourself what would be the best way to present the data, right? And when you try to do that, that is when you'll be able to figure out that, you know what, for my client, I think this they would prefer this over the other one. Any other question, anybody, before we continue?
So I also tried this that slicer, but it is not appearing exactly the same how it is appearing in your desktop. So let
I'll
me
do it
just
once
share.
again. No, I'll tell you once again. See,
Okay.
first you remove everything. Just click on any blank area. First, select the slicer and then put the order date in it, not the other way around. See, if you select the order date and then you convert that into a slicer, you should get this. Is this what you're getting?
Yes, this is what I'm getting.
Right. So remember, the order is important. First, select the slicer and then select the order date, not the other way around.
Okay, I'll try.
Just try this. I hope all of you see how there are these subtle differences in the way the order matters so much, by selecting the order date first and then the slicer, or the other way around, the slicer and then the order date.
Yes, it's happening the similar way now.
It's working. Excellent. Great. Anybody else? Any question? Right. So one more time, what all we have done? We made the order date and the sales in our bar chart, the very first one. Then we changed the data color. I've added the data label. We have added a border and a shadow. We have added the zoom slider, and we have also kept a slicer with the order date. Right. Let's make one more. Please duplicate the page, everyone. Right click and duplicate. And now I want to show you how to do conditional formatting. How to do conditional formatting. It's very simple and it's very, very powerful. It looks brilliant because you can't do this on Excel, right? So I will go to data colors and then click on this FX button where my cursor is highlighted, the FX button. Now the FX is basically conditional formatting. Even though it doesn't say anything, FX is conditional formatting. You have to remember that. Can somebody tell me what is it doing right now? Is it correct or is it incorrect? What you see on the screen? What do you think I need to change in this?
We have to change the colors for the lowest value and the highest
But
value.
that is a choice. See, that is not a must. We can choose blue or orange or red and green. That is up to us. Something else I need to change. What is that? No, Nishi, we need to change something. What are we showing in the chart right now? What value are we showing? Profit, quantity. What are we trying to show?
Sales.
The sales, no. Here, what is the field that has been selected? The count of date. But we don't want the count of date. No, what do we want? We want the sum of sales, isn't it? Everyone, what are we showing in the chart? We are showing the sum of sales, isn't it? So the field will be the sum of sales. Let's keep the color like this. We can change it later. So I would like my values that are lesser to be light blue and the values that are higher to be dark blue. And when I press OK, the chart looks like this. This is also very nice, right? Because now you can see that you get a sense of where the numbers are higher and where the numbers are lower, right? And obviously you can look at any period like this. So if I go to my month level, right, this is how it will appear. It's very subtle. It's not very bold, very flashy, but it gets the job done. Please try this, everybody. All okay. Now let's try to be more creative rather than using a light blue and a dark blue. Why don't I select? So I'll click on the FX button once again, and I will say something more interesting, right? Now, how do you know which colors are opposite of each other? Like we know that red and green are opposite. What is the opposite of blue? Anyone? Guys, what is it? What is the opposite of blue? Or what is the opposite of purple? Or what is the opposite of a peach, right? Or a brown? Now, how do you know these things? There is an excellent website called color.adobe.com. Please open this, everyone. Everybody, please open this, color.adobe.com. Now here you can see what type of opposite colors you have, right? So if I look at complementary, we all know that green and red are opposite, but which shade of green is opposite to which shade of red? That is what you can find it. So if I say blue, this is what happens. Do you see this? Blue and brown usually are opposite of each other, like this. The yellow and the purple or the violet, I'm not very good with colors, so you can see, I mean, I'm good with colors, but I'm not that good with colors that I can figure this out. Okay? Do you see this, everyone? Do you see how very interesting, like, look at this combination. It's beautiful, right? Like you have this color and you have this color, right? Now, how do I put the same colors on Power BI? I'll just show it to you, then I'll give you time to practice. Do you see this number, or rather this code? A8, or what is it? AB, A8 7744. I'll copy it. I will come back to Power BI and I will say that, no, I don't want to select these colors. I want to select more colors. And here I'll just paste that code, A8 7744, right? This is done. Now I'll come back to the website. I'll take, let's say, this color. I will say, okay, this is 2F88 AB, and I'll again say more colors, and I will write the same color here. Okay. And now you can see the result will look like this. I'm not saying it is better or worse. I'm just saying that this at least gives you some ideas as to how you can present. Let me choose something lighter. So maybe we can select this one so that all of you can see it clearly. One second. So rather than selecting this one, which is a little too dark, I feel, let's select this one. I think this would be much, much better, like this. Don't you see how beautiful this looks? You know, rather than keeping that standard red and green, you're able to use some more interesting colors like this. And this we would never have been able to do ourselves. How do I know what color is good and what color is bad? That is what you can learn from color.adobe.com. I would like all of you to try this. It's not difficult, but when you try it, you understand it better. Right? So please try this and let me know if you have any questions. Anybody? Any questions? I hope all of you are able to do this. And this would definitely not have been possible on Excel, because in Excel, you will have to put the colors one by one manually, which is, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's almost impossible to do, right? it doesn't have that feature of conditional formatting for charts. Also writing the website here, color.adobe.com, and then you're also putting a constant line. Right? Right? Now, what if I want to have a breakpoint? So I want to say that these are the months that are lesser than, let's say, 0.1 million. That would be 1 lakh. 1 million is 10 lakhs, correct? So I want to see how many numbers are less than 1 lakh, how many numbers are more than 1 lakh. For example, the first number that we have is 98,000, right? Let us see how we do this. I will go to the analytics button. Everybody, the analytics button. It's very simple. I will add a constant line, and I will add a line, and I will say that the value of my line is 1 lakh, right? Or I can make it 10 lakh, whatever you want to keep, right? But 10 would be too much, so let me keep it at maybe 2 lakhs, right? You can also change the color here, so I'll make it black like this. So this is so nice because at one glance you can see, okay, how many of them are less and how many of them are more. Now, obviously, you can change this as well. So if you only want to see the ones that are, like this, you only see how many numbers are, how many months rather are greater than 2 lakhs. So you can see that many months my sales has been less than 2, but many months it has been more than 2, like this. Please try this, everyone, the constant line. And you can even add multiple constant line. So let me add a constant line 2, where I'll keep, let's say, 4 lakhs. So now I can see in this band, we call this a band. In this band, how many months are there? So I can see in this 2 lakh to 4 lakh band, how many of the months are coming. Right? So you can see that it is not a very big thing. I mean, there are small things that I can do in Power BI, which helps me differentiate between Power BI and Excel, right? So remember the basic chart, we put some colors, then we made it even better by adding conditional formatting. We kept our own colors in it, right? Then we added these constant lines as well, right? Great. So I want to do something different after this. If you have any questions, please ask, and then we will continue. I want to show you a completely different chart after we have done this one. All good? Okay. Let me save the file. I would request all of you to save the file as well. And let's move on. Let's not do same examples. Let's do something very different, right? Now, the problem with this chart is that I can see the data for each month and each year and each quarter, which is great, but I cannot really see the change that is happening. You know, what we call month over month change, quarter over quarter change, or year over year change. Now, this is usually how you talk about business, right? So if I say Hero Motocorp, or let's take a different example. Let's say Unilever, right? Or let's say Hindustan Unilever. You will usually see that in a financial report, you will have something called YOY. I'm sure all of you have seen this. Even if you do not come from a commerce or a finance background, YOY basically means year over year. So when I say the net profit is increased YOY in Q4, can you tell me what exactly does it mean? Which period is it referring to quickly? Net profit Q4 has increased YOY to 2143. What does it mean? What period is being compared to which period?
Like 2020 quarter 4 to 2021 quarter 4.
Which months are these?
October, November, December.
No, Jan, Feb, March. Financial year. Everyone?
Oh, right.
So whenever they talk about YOY, they would typically talk about financial year. Sometimes they would talk about calendar year as well. But 99% of the time, when you say net profit increase, you typically refer to the financial year, right? Okay. So that means that the report came in to 29th April, obviously, because it takes some time to consolidate the financial statement. So we say that Jan, Feb, March of 2021 was 2,143 crore, which was a 41% jump over Jan, Feb, March of 2020, right? Okay. Now, this is great. I want to see that, right? So I would like to ask you that, can you tell me what is the change that is happening quarter over quarter from one year to another year? Let's see how we make it. Like we have done so far, first I will do it, and then I'll give you time to practice this. Okay? We will make a new chart type. This is called the ribbon chart. Please look at what I've highlighted, everybody. We call this the ribbon chart. And in the ribbon chart, what we will keep is, okay, just take your time, don't hurry. I will not put my entire order date. So you notice that I'm expanding my date hierarchy. Do you see this? We have year, quarter, month, and day. So I will put my sales in the value. I will put my year in the axis, and I'll put my quarter in the legend. Right? There are obviously other ways of doing this as well. So let me just complete the example, and then I'll give you time to do this. Right? Just give me a moment. Please do it like this. If you're having any trouble, let me know. But what we are doing here is I'm putting the year and the quarter in the axis, and I'm only putting the year in the legend. Let me do it one more time. See, in the axis, I will keep the entire hierarchy, but we only need two things. I only need the year and the quarter. So I'll remove the month and the day. In the legend, we only need the year. So I'll put the year. And once we have done that, I'll click on the expand button like this. Why is this? What exactly is it even telling me? Like, it looks very interesting, but what is it telling me? Do you see this? How amazing is this? What is the sales in Q1? 3.38 lakhs, right? What is the sales in quarter 2? 4.8 lakhs. But what is the change that has happened? Now in Excel, you have to calculate these things. In Power BI, it is so nice because it is now going to tell me automatically that Havish, your sales has grown from 3.38 lakhs in quarter 1 to 4.8 lakhs in quarter 2, which means there has been a growth of 1.41 lakhs, which is a 41.9% growth. Right? Like this. Please try this, everyone, and let me know if you have any questions. Right?
So can you tell what does this legend, axis, and values specifically denote?
There's nothing to
Because
tell. It is only when you try you will understand. These are just terms that have been given, right? So in different software, they'll be called different things. See, axis is what? Axis would be this axis. What is a legend? Legend means, legend defines how many colors are there in the chart. Right? Values are values. What value you're showing inside. So these are not standard terms. It's not that Tableau will also call it a legend and an access. Tableau does not call it a legend incidentally, right? So don't look too much at the words. Just try to understand where to put it. And obviously, a lot of you must be thinking, but how do I know where to put the legend and what to put in it? You don't know. It is only when you practice and practice and practice, you will understand better. But in the beginning, a lot of your time will go into experimentation because you don't know where to put the correct value, right? And that's okay. That happens to all of us. Any questions, anybody? I hope all of you are able to make the chart and also able to understand what we're trying to present in the chart. Okay? Obviously, when all of you go back, I would like you to experiment even more. Like I have given you one example where I put the year and the quarter and the year. You can try different combination. For example, you can try to put the quarter here and see what happens. Now the result looks different, right? Maybe you can try to put the year here, which is what we did earlier. But if you put the quarter here, then the chart looks very different. Something might look correct, something might look not correct, but then that is something you will have to try out on your own, right? So just to give you an example, if I put the month, then the chart is completely different, right? If I put the quarter here and then I expand, then it becomes very different. Now it shows me the month over month movement. So see, it is, I'm not going to cover every possibility. One reason, one thing that I will not do is to complete every possibility because I can't. It doesn't make any sense to cover every single example because there are so many different combinations. You have to get your hands dirty. You have to be curious. You have to say, okay, Havish has told us this one combination, but what will happen if I try this or try something different? Many times, 9%, 90% of the time, you will not get a good answer. That's okay. That is also a type of learning, right? Great. Any questions, anyone?
Sir, in this, if we select quarters, it's showing the difference between two quarters. But if we have only years, it doesn't show the difference.
Yeah, it will not because, I mean, see, it's hard to explain these things. Like if I put the year here, right, it is showing me the change, no? Quarter over quarter, like this. If you put the quarter here, then it will not show the change. See, how did I learn all these things? For me also, the ribbon chart was new when I worked in 2018. What did I do? I experimented and even more. That is how over a period of time I learned, okay, this should be done, this should not be done, right? So I'm telling you the basics as to why we are using it, what is the advantage of using it. The rest, obviously, you will have to try out on your own. right? Okay. Let's see the question once. Can we compare quarter growth year-wise? Why not you tell me? How will you look at the quarter growth year-wise? So what I'll do in that case is I'll just give you one example. Okay, rest I want you to do on your own. Okay, I will go back to my first level. So I'll go back to my years, right? And I'll keep the quarter in the legend. And now it shows me the quarter grows year-wise. So I can see Q4 has grown by 10%, then by 17%, then by 38%, like this. Now you might say, but sir, how did you know that you have to do this? See, that is the effort you have to put in. No, even if I give you 5 examples, it doesn't help because you still have to learn how to do it yourself. My teaching you 5 examples will not tell you everything, right? But you asked me a question, so I gave you the answer. How did I know the exact answer? I did not know your question correct. How did I know the exact answer? Because I have practiced so much. Right? That is what all of you have to do as well. So I'll do both the examples so that all of you can go back and practice. So I'll duplicate the page. And in the second one, I will say that we are doing at the year level, and we are keeping the quarter here, like this. Great. What else? Right? Okay. Let's keep on continuing. Let's do something different now. So let me save the file and open a new page. And what we will do now is, let me also think what we want to cover. Okay, let's make a trend line, a line chart. Okay, so we'll make a line chart. I'll also rename the page. Let's call it line chart. Line chart, we will keep order date, sales value, and click on expand 2 times. Please do this, everyone. If you're not able to see this the way I can see it, let me know. I'll help you. Create a line chart. Right? Okay, so we have the order date. At the first level, we only have the years. So I can see 12, 13, 14, and 15. If I want to see the data for each quarter, then I can click on the expand button. It shows me, quarter-wise movement, and then it shows me the month-wise movement. We all know this. And if I do it one more time, it looks like this because it is showing me every single date in 4 years. So there are about 1,400 data points that we have, 1,500 data points that we have, right? Like this for each date. So let me go back to my month level. How do I make a forecast? I will click on analytics. Now, do all of you remember that in the example for the bar chart, there was only one option in analytics. What was that? The constant line. In this example, if all of you recall, there was only one option called the constant line. But this time in a line chart, I have many other options available. I have a trend line, constant line, minimum, maximum, average, median, percentile. I think all of these you will understand. What is X and Y, you know. What is trend line, you know, right? What is average, median, percentile, that also you know. But we want to do a forecast. And in the forecast, what will I do? I will add a forecast for what period? Let's say I want to add a forecast for 24 month, 2 years. So I will say 24 months. Right? Press apply and it will give you a forecast for 24 months. Please try this, everyone. Please add a forecast for 24 months. Any questions? Anybody? Obviously, this is not a very detailed forecast because it's only giving you a basic exponential smoothing. But from a Power BI point of view, this is more than enough. Because see, Power BI is used for very high level analysis, where you're talking about strategy, the CXOs. If you want very detailed analysis, then probably Excel or R or Python is a better tool. Don't expect Power BI to give you a lot of flexibility as far as the forecast is concerned. Right. Let me show you something. If I make a slicer, which we have already done earlier, and in the slicer we keep something else, let's say our business segment, right? So what will happen is that if I select the consumer segment, the forecast is different. Corporate, the forecast segment, and home office, the forecast is different. It's very interesting, no? Because as a business, you have a mega forecast, which is for the entire business, but then you also have micro forecasts for different segments. And that is what you're trying to do. And just see how nice this looks, right? For the 3 different business segments. Any questions, anyone?
Sir, do we have to do anything with the confidence interval, or will it calculate automatically?
Not really. 95% is the standard that we follow in the corporate. So there's no see, just because the option is there doesn't mean you really need to, fiddle around with it. You can let it be what it is. Let me just quickly see what is 2100 into 1.18. That would be, no, what am I doing? 1.18. That would be 2478. That would be multiplied by 35. So that would be 86,000. Got it. Okay. Great. Any other question, anyone on this? Remember, this is not the only forecast. like I told you earlier, you have R and Python with you, so you can run an R and Python script to do even more forecasting. But obviously, in Excel, actually Excel is much better at forecast. You have many more options available. Power BI is very simple when it comes to forecasting, unless you know how to work on these two. Great. Any last question, anybody? Okay. Let's keep on continuing. See, the idea is to cover many different types of visuals for you. And obviously, when you look at it later, you will have some questions you can come back and ask, right? So we have done bar chart, column chart, line chart, ribbon chart. We've done forecasting. We have done the constant line, conditional formatting. So as you can see, we've done a lot of different things. Let me show you something very new now. I want to show you, just give me a moment. Okay, let's look at the scatter chart, everyone. This one, the scatter chart. So the profit is in my x-axis. No, profit is in y. Sales is in x-axis, and customer name is in my detail. Please do this, everyone. The scatter chart, the customer name, sales, and profit. Three things in the scatter chart. Just a minute. What is happening? Let me also rename it. Let's call it the scatter chart. Any questions so far? All good? Okay. Now, what is it telling me? It is telling me that there are a certain number of customers with us. So can somebody tell me, how do I know how many customers are there in my data? What would be the best way of finding it? Let's see how much you remember. How do I know the number of customers? Anyone? Let's see. The card, excellent. What else? So Nishya says the card. Of course, we can use the card, but what else? Think. What was the first example that we did in Power BI?
We can ask questions.
Exactly. We can ask a question. Now, two ways. I'll show you both the ways. I can make a card. And what should I keep in the card? Like from all these options, which option should I keep in the card? Okay, let's keep the customer name. But then it is not showing me the number of customers. It is showing me the first customer name. So how do I convert it into the count of customers? I will click on the small drop down, right? And I will change it to distinct count. Can you tell me what is the difference between count and distinct count?
Count will be the total count.
Common names. To remove the common name.
No, say that once again.
a common name from the group.
No. That doesn't make sense, no? Count is 51,000. What is it telling me? What is 51,290?
They are
Number of
repetitive customers
transactions.
as well.
Number of transactions. 51,000 is the number of transactions where customer name is being duplicated, right? And when I do distinct count, it tells me that there are 797 unique customers. Obviously, here I'm assuming that there are no two customers with the same name. Ideally, if you want to find the distinct count, what should you use? The customer name or something different?
Customer ID.
Exactly. Why the customer ID? Because it will always be unique. Like if I look at this group of students from Shriram College of Commerce, I would never look at the student name because there is a possibility that two of you have the same name, maybe three of you have the same name. But if I look at the roll number or the student ID, I know that it is a distinct. So here I don't have the ID, so we're looking at the name. That's okay. But this is 797. The other way would have been, in fact, let me keep it here. The other way would have been to simply ask a question. And can somebody tell me what is the question that we should ask? Simple, count customer name, and it will tell me 797. When you say count, it actually does the distinct count only, right? So I've done both of these things so that you can go and practice both of them. That's okay. But can somebody explain what is the benefit of making this chart? I know we have made it, but what is the point? What is it telling us?
We can get the best customer, worst customer, and
And what else?
also in which region most of the customers lies in.
No. Let's not talk about things that we haven't put in. Region and all we're not looking at. I'm just looking at the customers.
Region means I'm saying that the 10K to 20K.
Exactly. So we can call them segments, right? Or we can call it groups. Or the correct word that we use here is, one is called segmentation, everyone. I'm sure all of you have heard of it. If you haven't, this is something very important and you will study this in marketing. We call this customer segmentation, right? Where we are breaking the entire group of 797 customers into different segments. And the other term that we use is called customer cohort, right? Customer cohort. Customer cohort are also group of users who are performing a certain sequence of events. That means they are similar to each other. So if I look here, I would say that these customers are similar, right? I would say that these customers are similar. I would say that these customers are similar like this, right? Make sense? So the different terms that we can use here are, let me just make a text box and write it down. So we say customer segmentation. We can call them customer cohort, and we can also call it customer clusters. Okay. So clusters is another word that we use. Customer clusters. Customer cluster is actually a part of classification and segmentation, which is a part of machine learning, right? Okay, any questions so far before I tell you what else we can do in the chart? All okay? Now let's do one thing. The customer clusters are looking too many, right? I mean, the number of customers. So let's make it a little simpler. What I will do is I will make a duplicate page. And rather than keeping the customer names here, let me remove all this. We don't need this. I will keep, let's say, the country, okay, like this in the details, right? Can everybody do this, please? Can you keep the country, please? And what else are we doing? You're keeping the country in the detail, and you want to change the x-axis to the average sales and the y-axis to the average profit. So don't keep the total sales and the total profit, make it the average. This way the chart looks a little better. The first one is also correct, but then I want to compare the averages, not the total. Take your time, please make this, then we'll complete the example. Let's see the question, just a minute. Can I explain the analysis drawn from this chart? Rishi, why don't you try to tell me what do you think we are trying to tell from the chart? Then of course I'll tell you. What do you think it is telling me right now? Why is it helpful for me rather? What about these three? What would you say about Kuwait, Montenegro, and I don't know what country that is. What does it tell me about these three? A, they're outliers and they are very high on sales and very high on profit. Make sense? Same thing, if you look at all the countries that are below the zero line, what are these, everyone? What type of countries are these? This group.
They don't make profit.
We're not earning any profit from these countries, right? So they are non-profitable countries. So see, this is how you can break the data into different clusters, right? So outliers, clusters, you can see where the cluster is very dense. Do you see this area? There are so many countries in this small area like this. Now, like I had put the x-axis, let me just come back. Remember we had kept this x-axis line like this. I can make it on the scatter chart as well. So I will go to formatting and I will put a zoom slider. So I'll get two zoom sliders this time. One on the x-axis, one on the y-axis. So if I only want to see countries that are profitable, what do? I will just make it come to 0 like this. Now it is only showing me those countries that are profitable. And I only want to see countries where the sales is above 350, for example. So I can say, no, I just show me sales that are more than 350 like this. It's so amazing, isn't it? Like, otherwise in Excel, you will show the complete data, which is okay. But then the moment you want to analyze, you want to say, what about this group or that group? What if I only want to see the outliers, right? So maybe I just want to see the countries that are not earning any profit. So I'll do the opposite. These countries, if you notice, are earning a profit of, or rather we are incurring a loss of more than 100, right? So there are only 4 of them. So I can see we have Lithuania, Turkmenistan, Yemen, and Portugal, right? And also the size of the countries right now is the same because we haven't put anything in the size, but we can also put something in the size. For example, I can put my sales in the size. maybe my average sales. And this way what happens, the size is too large, but in the format, we can reduce the size here, just a minute. Okay. And once we have done that, let me also put category labels here. Let me also put color border here, right? Like this. Take your time, don't do this in a hurry, everyone. So what I'll have it done here, I have put the first thing. I have put the average sales in the size, obviously. So now you notice that some of the moment I move to the right, the size of the bubble is also increasing, correct? Obviously. And then in the shapes, I have reduced the size, I made it -26, and I have also added the category label like this, so I can see the name of the country as well, right? Like this. And then there is an option called the color border. So we're also adding a color border like this. Take your time, do this, and tell me if you have any question. This is how analytics happens at organizations. You prepare a Power BI report and then you try to look at different scenarios, different combinations like that. Right, this would be the last example for today. So just let me know if you have any questions. Any question, anyone? If you want to share your screen, let me know. I will stop my sharing and you can do that. All good, everyone. And the final thing that I want to show you is, I know we have done a lot today, but the final thing I want to show is the play axis below the size. Right? Last example for today. If I put the month in the play axis, what will happen is, this is very nice. Watch this. It is showing me the data currently for the month of January. But if I click on the play button, it will actually show me the change that is happening over time. So nice, isn't it? So let me just zoom in a little bit to that area where most of the countries are present. like this. Okay? And now watch this to see how the changes happen. Okay? Like this is an outlier, right? So clearly this is not something we want to look at. So you can also exclude it. We'll do these things later. I'm not doing it right now. There are many, as you can see, the more you learn in Power BI, you realize that the platform looks very simple, but there are so many small things in it, like this exclusion. If you want to remove an outlier from the data, that is also possible, right? Like this. So we'll cover all that later. Great. So we'll stop at this point. Let me quickly recap what all we have done today. We started with the drill where I showed you that you have different arrows available where you can go up, down, expand, drill up, drill down. I also showed you a slicer with the order date. We did conditional formatting where we said that two colors we have taken from color.adobe.com. We have put two constant line, 2 lakhs and 4 lakhs. We created a ribbon chart, which is a little complex, so you will have to practice this quite a lot. We were able to show the change quarter over quarter. I also showed you one other, which is showing you the change YOY, year over year. Then I showed you forecasting with a line chart. We created the scatter chart, and we also created a new scatter chart, which has many different things in it. I have the size, average profit, average sales. The size is the average sales. The play axis is the month, right? Like this. And of course, the two zoom sliders as well, one for the profit and one for the sales, right? And see, at any point, if you want to change it, if you want to remove the country and you want to keep something different, let's say I want to keep my category, right? Now, obviously in category, there'll only be 3 dots. But if I keep my subcategory, there'll be 17 of them, like this. Okay. So just see how nice this looks. You can see how the sales from different categories are changing over time. Trust me, there is nothing quite like this from a presentation point of view, because this is not static. This is what is called a dynamic dashboard, where you're not just telling a person there are 12 charts that I've created, one for each month. You're able to show them the real change, the movement that is happening over time. Very cool, right? Great. Any questions, anyone? I'm not going to do anything new today. Right. So good. We have done a lot today. Remember, tomorrow we will be doing even more visualizations, but of the same level of difficulty, right? So it will not be more difficult or less difficult. I would not say it is difficult. I think the challenge here is that you're learning so many new things every day that it might feel it is very difficult to cope up, but that's okay. The idea here is that you're becoming aware of all these things. Remember that I am Calcutta session that I had taken. I asked them, there was a group of 140 students. I said, how many of you have worked on Power BI? There were maybe 7 people who said yes. So imagine you guys already know about a tool and you know it better than they do, right? So that's the point I'm trying to get across. You're learning it beforehand. You're learning it very early. So you should all feel very proud of yourself that, see, I'm learning it early. And you should keep on learning so that by the time other people start to learn the basics, you will have learned intermediate level, like that. Great. So I'll save this file. So that's all from my side. If you, have any questions, please ask. I'll just clean up a little bit in the meantime. What else do we need to remove? I think all good. Okay. So, all right. So great. Thank you, everybody. and I'll see you tomorrow. We are back at the same time, so we'll have a session at 9 to 11 in the morning. Right? Great. So thanks everyone. I will upload the video and the file as well in case you want to practice, and catch you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.